As you've probably heard, DuckDuckGo is making a desktop web browser similar to its mobile apps in that it's privacy friendly and has a really big delete history button with a fancy animation on it. The reason I'm making this video is because I'm a big Firefox fanboy, because I think that it's the best web browser because it has very little telemetry and it has all this tracking protection, plus you can install a bunch of extensions for it that'll help improve that. It's completely open source, and in my opinion, its layout engine is better than the alternative, and there really is only one alternative, which is Blink, also known as Chromium. DuckDuckGo's web browser might just replace Firefox in my life, and the reasons for that are as follows. Firstly, Firefox is a really, really big resource hog. People will complain about Chrome using 1 billion gigabytes of RAM as soon as you open 2 tabs, but Firefox actually has the exact same problem. They'll say that Firefox is more lightweight or whatever, but they're wrong. Look, if I open up System Monitor right now, look at that. Firefox, 1.3 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I have a decent amount of tabs open. Most of them are hidden because I've got a tab groups extension, but still, that's a lot of RAM. And if I close all of the tabs, except for these 3 that I have open here, that amount will not go down by very much. Firefox uses a lot of resources, just as Chrome does. And the DuckDuckGo web browser probably won't. The reason for that is because it isn't based on one of the big browser engines like, Blink or Gecko or Servo. No. They're using the OS-provided rendering engine, that being Webkit on macOS, probably also Webkit on Linux, and I think MS-HTML or something on Windows, which happens to be the exact same thing that Neutralino.js uses to render its web content. Now, this might mean that the quality of the rendering won't be as good, because I have noticed that WebKit's kind of trash, and Firefox is objectively better than it, but maybe it won't be a very big deal. I mean, I don't know. The only WebKit browsers I've ever used are GNOME Web, which is, it's lagging a lot, but it's fine, I guess, and Safari, which is not laggy, but stuff renders badly on it. Like, I've had to do CSS hacks where there were these buttons on a recent project of mine, and I had to add twice as much padding on Safari just to make it look the same as on every other browser. Don't know why. But, maybe it won't be a problem. Hopefully it won't be a problem, because I think that that's really cool, and I think that's how it should be done, because otherwise it's just going to be a big bloated mess like all the other web browsers are. Also, this browser is likely to be open source, and the reason I say that is because both the iOS and Android DuckDuckGo apps are open source, as well as their extensions for Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, which is great. So I don't see why they would open source all of these projects but not their desktop browser, and I don't see why you would want to trust them if their desktop browser was not open source. The other thing they say here is they're not going to have any levels of privacy protection. That's a good thing, actually. People have criticized that, but I think that that's how it should be. People don't want to go into here and be like, what enhanced privacy protection settings. Oh, they're standard, strict. They just want a browser that doesn't spy on you. Also, because they're DuckDuckGo, they're unlikely to have very much telemetry, which is good. A web browser should be a tool for looking at stuff on the internet, not for gathering information about you. But I think that to be any good and to get me to use it, the DuckDuckGo web browser is going to have these things. Firstly, extensions. Be it installing them off of DuckDuckGo's own marketplace that they'll make in the future, or installing them off of the Firefox or Chrome web stores, they need to have extensions, and they need to support the web extension standard. Otherwise, they're it's going to be bad because you're going to have to make extensions specifically for that browser, just like Safari. And now Safari actually supports web extensions too as of 2 years ago. So, really it needs to be supported. Otherwise, it's not going to be any good. And there's not going to be any use in using it because look at all these extensions, and I got a whole bunch more that are hidden. And I really like extensions, okay? Another thing is I use bookmarks like a lot. Whoops. I have a lot of bookmarks. And what I do with my bookmarks is I'll bookmark a page, and then I'll put tags into here. And then when I open a new tab, I'll remember to type in the tag, and my bookmarks will come up. And I'll find bookmarks from a year ago that are exactly what I was looking for because I remember that I would want to see it in the future maybe. And so I put a little bookmark on it and close it. And if they don't have a really good bookmark tagging system and a way to just type and have your bookmarks pop up based on their titles, descriptions, tags, and URLs at the same time, then it's just really not going to appeal to me because that's a feature that I really like. Lastly, I think that the DuckDuckGo web browser needs to have good developer tools. I won't switch to it if the dev tools are bad because I make websites, and so obviously I want to have good developer tools like those that are in Firefox. But the default Webkit dev tools are pretty good, so I think that if they make them, using that, it should be fine. But I think that they know what a good web browser should look like, and I really hope that they do, because this has the potential to be a really good web browser, and one that a lot of people would probably use. Right now, the browser markets are dominated by Google Chrome, and also Microsoft Edge, which happens to be based on Google Chrome. Oh yeah, and Opera, which is based on Google Chrome. Everything is based on Google Chrome, except for Vivaldi, Firefox, and Safari. That's it. So if DuckDuckGo does a good job with this could be good for the internet as a whole, because as we've seen lately, Google's been doing a lot of stuff, abusing their power with Flock and Manifest 3 just because they can. And they would not be able to if, they didn't own 70% of browsers or whatever. So that's my opinion about the DuckDuckGo web browser. Hopefully it's good. I'd recommend trying it. I can't wait for it to come out. They haven't said specifically when, but I think it's going to be sometime in the next couple months. And I will try it out, and I will give my opinion on it on here. Thanks for watching. And remember, Joe many liberals it takes to change a log by bulb.